Throughout history, some people have crossed the line between man and monster. Ruthless killers, twisted minds, and stories that chill the soul. Today, we uncover the top 10 most dangerous criminals of all time. Are you ready? Warning! This video contains real-life crime content that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. This content is intended for educational and informational purposes only. Cannibalistic serial killer known for torturing and murdering children in the early 20th century. He claimed to hear voices from God commanding him to kill. His crimes were so gruesome that even seasoned detectives were disturbed. When caught, he confessed to killing a young girl named Grace Budd, sending a letter to her mother describing the murder in terrifying detail. Fish was executed in 1936, but his legacy remains one of pure evil. Dubbed the Blood Countess, Elizabeth Bathory lived in 16th-century Hungary and is believed to have killed over 600 young women. She lured peasant girls to her castle under the promise of work, then subjected them to unspeakable torture. Some legends claim she bathed in their blood to preserve her beauty, though historians debate the truth. Arrested in 1610, she was never put on trial but was confined to a windowless room in her castle until her death. Whether myth or reality, her name has become a symbol of aristocratic cruelty and madness. Richard Ramirez, a self-proclaimed Satanist, committed a series of home invasions, sexual assaults, and murders. He left behind pentagrams and chilling messages at crime scenes, often attacking people while they slept. His random selection of victims, from young children to elderly couples, made his crimes even more terrifying. He was eventually caught by a mob of citizens and sentenced to death, but died of cancer in prison in 2013. Ramirez remains a symbol of pure chaos. Trusted. Respected. Deadly. Harold Shipman was a British general practitioner who secretly murdered his patients over 2 decades. Using lethal doses of painkillers, he killed over 200 people, most of them elderly women, and altered death certificates to avoid suspicion. It wasn't until a suspicious daughter questioned her mother's sudden death that Shipman's crimes came to light. His calm demeanor masked a disturbing desire for control and power over life and death. He was sentenced to life in prison and took his own life in 2004. Shipman's case led to major reforms in UK medical practices. He didn't kill with a knife, he used manipulation as his weapon. Charles Manson formed a cult known as the Family during the 1960s, convincing his followers to carry out brutal murders on his behalf. Among the most infamous was the murder of actress Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant at the time. Manson believed in a coming race war, and thought these murders would spark it. His hypnotic control over others showed how dangerous charisma can become when wielded by a madman. He spent the rest of his life in prison, but his name became synonymous with cult violence. On the surface, Ted Bundy was everything society values: educated, well-spoken, charming. But behind his smile hid a ruthless killer. Bundy confessed to murdering at least 30 young women across multiple U.S. states, but the real number may be higher. He used his looks and fake injuries to lure victims into his car before abducting and killing them. Bundy escaped custody more than once, continuing to kill even while on the run. His trial was one of the first to be televised, turning him into a media sensation. He was executed in 1989, leaving behind a legacy of horror, and a reminder that monsters can look like anyone. John Wayne Gacy was a community leader, a father figure, and a clown at children's parties. But beneath his suburban life was a nightmare. Gacy lured teenage boys into his home, then raped, tortured, and murdered them, burying many of the bodies in his crawlspace. He killed at least 33 young men in the 1970s. Known as the Killer Clown, his crimes shocked the nation and raised awareness about stranger danger. Gacy was executed by lethal injection in 1994. His dual identity, friendly clown by day, killer by night, makes him one of the most chilling figures in criminal history. The Soviet Union kept dark secrets, and one of the darkest was Andrei Chikatilo. Known as the Butcher of Rostov, Chikatilo murdered over 50 women and children between 1978 and 1990. His crimes were sadistic, involving mutilation and cannibalism. For years, Soviet authorities refused to believe a serial killer could exist under communist rule, allowing him to continue. He was eventually caught through a blood and semen analysis, the first case in the USSR to use such forensic techniques. Executed in 1994, Chikatilo remains a symbol of terror in post-Soviet history. Unlike the others, Pablo Escobar wasn't a killer by hand, but by empire. As head of the Medellin cartel, Escobar controlled 80% of the global cocaine market in the 1980s. He built an army, corrupted governments, and caused the deaths of thousands through assassinations, bombings, and gang warfare. In Colombia, he was both feared and admired, building homes for the poor even as he flooded the streets with blood. His war against the government turned Colombia into a battlefield. Escobar was killed in a rooftop shootout in 1993, but his legacy still shapes the world of organized crime. London, 1888. A shadow stalks the foggy streets of Whitechapel, preying on women in the dead of night. Jack the Ripper murdered at least 5 women, all brutally mutilated, and taunted police with letters signed, "From Hell." Despite global attention and countless theories, his identity remains unknown. He became the first internationally known serial killer, and a symbol of how mystery can intensify fear. More than 130 years later, the world still wonders, who was Jack the Ripper? These individuals may be gone, but the horror they left behind lives on. Their stories remind us of the darkness humanity is capable of, and the importance of remembering, understanding, and learning from history. For more true crime and mysterious stories, subscribe to the channel. And remember, sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are human.il.